All right, fellas. So should you summon for Dokkan Festival Pan? Now, when I do these should you summon videos, it always goes out to either the free-to-play or the light spender, right? For sure. So number one, if you're free-to-play, I don't know how you have any stones left. I mean, maybe you've got like 100 or something like that. I mean, I don't know. Like, how did you not just blow your entire load trying to get the coolers and Carnival Goku and, you know, the Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta? I don't know. I mean, maybe you resisted the urge and you only did a couple of multis or something. But my guess is none of you free-to-plays, strictly free-to-plays, I would imagine have very, very few stones to your name. So that definitely is a factor when you're talking about should you summon for a character. Because these celebrations, I mean, they give out a fair amount of stones, right? But, you know, any given celebration, if you're talking about a month, like a monthly celebration, right? Like, we'll probably have the Pan banner for about a month, maybe just shy of a month. I mean, you could maybe get 150, 200, maybe 200 stones. I mean, probably. I mean, this is not exactly what we'd call a hype celebration, but we will have a couple of easy A's. You know, we will have some stuff to do, right, that will get you some stones for sure. But again, so, I mean, is it worth dropping 4 multis to try to get Pan? I don't know. My gut would say no. Just because, like, unless, again, the other caveat is always, like, is Pan your favorite character? Like, if you're Jay Fanta and you're not free-to-play, right, like, Pan's your favorite character, like, you summon, right? Like, that's just kind of the deal, right? If you are going to have a lot of fun using Pan, if you just like Pan's animations, you like her OST, you like her active skill, and that kind of stuff, like, sure, if you're going to have fun using Pan, that is always something to keep in mind, right? But I think just in a vacuum, you look at Pan. Let's go ahead and look at Pan, right? So Pan is a unit. So let's go ahead and look at her leader skill. She's a Bond of Friendship and Dragon Ball Seekers category leader. Key 3, 170% to stats. And then the remaining 30% of her 200% leader skill goes to GT heroes. So certainly, I would say a decent leader skill. Not busted by any means, I would say. It's not a busted leader skill. Now, when you use Pan, what you'll find out is, like, pretty much the rest of your team does not matter. If you're activating her unit super attack, and you're able to activate her active skill, then she can pretty much do everything. So let's go ahead and look at what she does. So she has 4 different super attacks. Again, this can kind of add to the fun factor of a unit too, right? So she literally, I mean, they're kind of all the same super attacks with different characters, right? But that can kind of add to the funness of a character, right? Having 4 different animations is kind of cool. Again, she's got that really cool active skill with where Goku, you know, turns Super Saiyan 4 and stuff. Like, that's fun, right? Like, that definitely adds to the fun, right? But if you look at her super attack, so she's raising attack infinitely on her normal super attack, and then she's got this medium chance of stunning, and then she's greatly raising attacks on her 3 other unit super attacks, and a high and a great chance to stun, right? So that is something to keep in mind. And that chance to stun is going to make her good in Super Battle Road, although I don't know what stages you're really running her in. What stage, I guess? Like, is anyone really struggling with, like, Hybrid Saiyans, ESPR? Like, I doubt it. I mean, Goku's Family Extreme Super Battle Road, that actually could be a place where you could use her, for sure. Yeah, I would definitely say that might be the one. No doubt about that. But other than that, like, where else are you really running her? She is, let's go ahead and go over the rest of her card, right? And then we'll talk about where you can run her and where she could potentially help you. So attack and defense, 150%. Certainly a good start. Oh, come on with the fucking ads, dude. Come on. Do better, Dokkan Wiki. Additional attack and defense, 50% when attacking. Reduces damage received by 50% before attacking and key 2. And an additional 50% attack as the first attacker in a turn. So what that means is as the first attacker in a turn and before she super attacks, she's getting this 50% damage reduction. So after she attacks, she loses the damage reduction. So this is very good, for instance, against AoE Broly. Just for instance, right? AoE Broly, you don't even get a chance to do anything. You don't get a chance to do shit. And he super attacks you, right? In slot 1, turn 1, just so she's going to reduce all that damage, right? That's a very, very good thing that she does. Now, where she can struggle is after she supers. But let's go ahead and go over the rest of her card. She gets an additional attack and defense 20% up to 100% with each attack performed. So by turn 7, she could potentially be, maxed out, fully built up. That's pretty good. And then, of course, she's still infinitely raising attack, right? Just the amount of damage she does, dude, is just wild. She does also launch an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack when there's a GT Heroes category ally whose name includes Goku, Trunks, or Giru attacking in the same turn. More than likely, you are going to have, like, a very, very good chance if you're running Pan, it's going to be with one of those 3 characters for sure. And then her active skill can be activated after performing 5 or more attacks in battle if there's a GT Heroes category ally whose name includes Goku. So any Goku that's on, in GT basically can activate her active skill. So that does include like LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, for instance, right? Speaking of him, I kind of like the idea of running Pan on his team, right? Because she will be under the 200% leader skill for the Goku and Vegeta that fuse into Gogeta, right? That character, she's on their 200% leader skill. So that is something to keep in mind too. It is interesting that they're dropping her only 2 months. What is it, 2.5 months? After the global anniversary. Kind of crazy if you really think about it, right? This unit came out, let's see. Yeah, I mean, dude. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, wow. That's wild. July 29th dropped on JP. That was still during the global anniversary, right? So that is crazy. Yeah, only a few months after JP. That rarely happens. But her active skill, it does greatly raise attack temporarily, causes ultimate damage to the enemy within the turn activated. Attacks have a 59% chance of becoming crits. So remember, every single attack in that turn has a 59% chance to become a crit beyond her active skill, right? So that is incredibly good. You kind of look at everything she's doing, she does a lot of damage, right? Like, so if you're gonna have fun with a unit like that, maybe you do want to consider summoning for Pan, ripping all of your multis you can on Pan. I mean, that's just, if you want to, you know what I mean? If you're going to have fun, go ahead and do it. Another thing you need to keep in mind before you decide to summon on Dokkan Festival Pan is you got to look at her banner, right? So is her banner any good? And I would argue that you look at this banner's pretty good. I would say, like, it's not like a 10 out of 10. But it's decent, right? I mean, would you call it maybe a 7 out of 10? I probably would. You've got a lot of units that have not returned yet, right? So obviously Pan and Giru, Trunks and Giru, have never been on a banner. By the way, Trunks and Giru, before I get to that point, Trunks and Giru, an incredible support unit for Pan, but I would definitely say not incredibly necessary. So for instance, what I mean by that is, like, when you're summoning for Captain Ginyu, you have to basically have Birder and Jice and Rakumen Goldo for Ginyu to really shine. Now, Trunks and Giru can provide 70% attack and defense to Pan, so that is certainly significant, and I don't want to overlook that. But Trunks and Giru, in and of themselves, are not really all that good. I mean, they're okay, for sure, but they're not really, like, busted like Rakumen Goldo or something. I mean, you look at them compared to, like, STR Piccolo and shit. Like, dude, they're not even close to that. But they do beef up Pan quite a bit. But kind of looking at the rest of the banner, you've got AGL Captain Ginyu, who arguably is better than Pan, right? I mean, I would probably argue he is better than Pan, right? He's offering support to his team. He offers the mid-battle heal. Like, he's stacking defense, which really is a bit more valuable than stacking attack. Although Pan is so offensive that it's kind of a good defense, right? Because you can one-shot people with her active skill, for sure. So again, it's kind of apples. It's kind of just like, what do you prefer, apples or oranges, right? For Ginyu or Pan, at a certain point. But then you've got AGL Trunks. He's still certainly pretty solid, right? He's fallen off a bit. You're not really running him against, like, Red Zone Metal Cooler Core or something like that. Red Zone Omega. You're not really running him in there. But if there ever comes a boss that's going to be like an STR, very powerful STR boss, AGL Trunks could still definitely be good. You've got Int Gogeta still pretty solid on that Super Saiyan Force team, and then of course the GT Super Saiyans, right? Who are still pretty good. I mean, they're pretty good. They can still do good damage. They can be pretty good defensively. But again, they've aged a bit, right? They're the two worst units on the banner. Maybe you want to say Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is the worst unit on the banner. That's fine. I'm okay with that too. So you've basically got 3 or 4 really good units, right? And 2 of them are like ridiculously busted, right? So again, I think in terms of the value of the banner, the value is there. This is a good value banner. Now, I can't make a guarantee that Ginyu will be on Pan's banner because he just came out on Global. However, I think it would be a good idea to keep him on the banner, right? It would definitely entice a lot of people to summon. I think the general thought process is they're going to put Majin Vegeta on this banner, on the Global and the JP banner, so the JP Path to Power Goku banner could potentially have Majin Vegeta on. Remember, he has not come back yet, so, having Majin Vegeta come back on a banner, I think certainly I would say the value is relatively the same at that point, even if it's Ginyu versus Majin Vegeta. Majin Vegeta is incredible on the Trunks and Vegeta team. We just don't have access to it here yet on Global. On his own team, he's kind of whatever. You know what I mean? He's ridiculous defensively, and that's about it. That Trunks condition really kind of sucks for him, but that is kind of one other thing to keep in mind when you're summoning on these banners, right? When you're determining, should I summon on a banner, that is certainly one thing you want to keep in mind is the value, because if Pan were the only good unit on this banner, I'd tell you not to summon, right? But this is an okay banner, I would say. Again, I think the value is there. Some other things you want to keep in mind, one other thing in particular you want to keep in mind, is what's on the horizon for Global Dokkan. And I think the honest answer, if anyone tells you they know, I think they're just lying or they're kidding themselves, right? I really do. Because I don't think anyone really knows. What the hell is next for Global? We don't really know. I think the vast majority of people thought the ROF Blue, Goku and Vegeta were going to come out, right? So I really think the vast majority of people did. And then all of a sudden they drop Pan, and it's like, okay, that's cool. You're dropping Pan, but like, where does Golden Frieza? When is he going to drop? You know what I mean? So Golden Frieza certainly fits in incredibly on Cooler's team, right? You want him on that team, right? He fits under the 200% leader skill. It's his only 200% leader skill team. You want him on that Cooler team for sure. So I think when you look at like what exactly is next, my gut tells me it's going to be Golden Frieza. However, there's also this movie thing that is just looming, right? And enough time has passed here in the States and otherwise, in European countries and the rest of the world, not named Japan, right? The global release of Dragon Ball Super Superhero, there's been enough time that's passed now. I think you could easily make a case that we're going to have another dual celebration coming up very, very soon. I think that the Heroes collab is relatively set in stone. That's going to happen in, toward the beginning, middle of November. So what's going to bookend that, basically? And I don't really know. I think Tanabata will come right after the Heroes celebration. I think, right? I mean, that's historically what has happened, but just like the fact that they drop Pan, it just is weird. It definitely creates some weirdness. Like, are they not going to drop the ROF Blues until like January? At that point, dude, there's no way anyone's summoning for the ROF Blue Goku. There's no way. That unit's pretty good, but he's not. He's okay. He can do some good damage. Vegeta's good defensively. I don't know. That unit screams skip to me, but if it were the ROF Blues, I feel like it would be an easy skip. To me, it would be, but maybe I'm the crazy one. I don't see that unit as being as busted as Pan, right? For sure. But Pan is like just ridiculously busted, right? So, but anyway, what's coming after Golden Frieza? Presumably, and we don't even know if it's Golden Frieza. Is it going to be like a global first? Like, again, with that movie stuff looming, and then you've got maybe the movie, like, maybe it'll be a dual celebration for New Year's. Like, you just don't really know. Like, they also have to squeeze in that Peppy Gal's waifu banner, like that new Carnival banner that'll be coming out that has Fasha and Chilai on it. Like, where are you going to squeeze that in? Like, there's a lot that needs to happen over here on Global. They could start condensing some of these celebrations for sure, but I think that the prospect of a dual celebration coming up very soon is very high. And again, what do you want to save your stones for? Again, we talked a little earlier about the Dragon Ball Heroes collab. I think this is the year where it's the full power, what do you call it? The Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4s. I believe that they're the ones coming for the Heroes collab. And I would imagine that like the Super Saiyan 4 Bardock and Gohan will be getting their awakenings, and they're going to be insanely busted, right? Like, those are some damage reduction and guard characters, right? Like, they are going to be really, really good. Well, Gohan is at least. Bardock, he just does a bunch of attacks, I'm pretty sure. So it's really tough to say. I don't think anyone really knows what's coming up next, right? Like, I just, like, oftentimes in Dokkan, like, the schedule's kind of laid out for, like, months at a time, right? Like, we definitely know that two things never change. The Worldwide Download Celebration, which is essentially the half-year celebration, and then the anniversary, right? Those two never, ever change. But I think everything else, I think is kind of on the table to change. I really, really do. You want to tell me the Heroes collab's set in stone? Kind of. I mean, it's never been a different month than November, not that I know of. Maybe the first year was a different month, but it's always really fallen in November. Again, are we going to have, like, how many are we up to, like, 6 dual celebrations or something a year with JP? Like, you might as well just catch the damn games up, dude. I don't know what they're doing. I guess this is probably their next best thing that they can do, but this video has gone on long enough. My final verdict on should you summon for Pan is I would maybe wait and see. That's kind of my answer. Wait and see. Wait and see if we know anything soon. You know, another thing to keep in mind is Pilaf's Trove packs will certainly be available. I think the odds of there being discounts are kind of high. So like a discounted multi-step kind of thing where they do like the 30, 35, 45, whatever the numbers are. And then like a guaranteed featured, like I would definitely say the odds of that are kind of high as well. So, but if you guys are going to summon on Pan or if you're going to skip Pan, let me know in the comments below. Your boy is summoning, right? Like, I'm summoning for Pan. There's no two ways about it, right? Like, I think she's really ridiculously busted. I don't need her. I can beat every single difficult content in the game. It's just for collector's purposes at this point. And I want to be able to test her out, right? Like, she seems like a fun unit to use to me. And of course, I'm a whale. So I'll go ahead and leave it there. Slap a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think is on the horizon or what the global schedule is going to look like. Consider subscribing if you are new. Love you guys, and I will catch you in the next one. Later.